All right, good evening, everybody. So, this is something that I've actually been kind of delving into a little bit. So, I'm going to post a couple links in the description. Um, I hope you like and subscribe because you like the content. You know, I'm not asking you to buy shit or begging. I know it sounds cliche, but anyhow, let's get into it. So, what we have going on here, obviously, as you know, people are doxing people, getting them fired for their jobs. Because of what they said about Charlie Kirk. And while it's not a new phenomenon, of getting doxxed and having people contact your employer, and then you get hauled in and talked to by HR. And while some people got fired that probably shouldn't have, I'm not going to get into the whole teacher thing. Enough people, have done that, because while a teacher is technically a government employee, and assuming that they're posting it on their own time, technically, if it wasn't for somebody doxing somebody, that teacher would still have his or her job because it wouldn't disrupt the school environment. But when you stop bringing doxing, and then people calling the school, that's going to disrupt the environment. But enough about that. What I'm going to talk about are two things that obviously have been real problems when somebody decides to dox somebody. And this one does not surprise me. Online threats of violence. And I'm going to assume that these are probably people coming from the right, who got offended by what Charlie Kirk said. Let me phrase that. Yeah, who people on the right who got offended by what the left celebrating Charlie Kirk. I can talk. So here we have one. Express support for Kirk is facing federal charges after making alleged threats to shoot up a pride parade in so I'm not sure if this was because he found somebody's information because they were doxxed, but maybe I'll do a separate video on this one. Let me get into actually what I was going to talk about, a whole nother issue when it comes to doxing. So what we have here is we have a case. All right, there we go. Just bear with me. So a Pennsylvania official faces threats over a post she says was misconstrued as a Charlie Kirk celebration. You know, so she's stepping back from her duties. She's a member of a school board, and she's been getting, allegedly threats to her safety. I'm going to assume that she filed a police report. And she says, in this article, one down, hundreds to go was more about gardening and had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. So clearly she made a post and somebody decided to dox this person. As well as, people doxing other people. But these people were accusing this woman of poking fun at Kirk's murder. So they investigated. So I'm going to see if she actually got fired. And one down was meant to accompany a video of wind blowing one of the milkweed seed pods. So let's just read it. Take from this what you will. poor cell phone reception. It can happen. And she couldn't upload the video with the post, and it failed to upload. So she was too busy trying to enjoy nature. So according to this woman, she likes to garden, offering condolences to Kirk's family. And the post was only about butterflies and creating a space for them. Monarch butterflies rely on milkweeds. That's how they live. So apparently she didn't get fired. I mean, she did get investigated. But the problem with doxing is this is what happens. I mentioned this in other videos. I even left a comment on some other channel. Do people deserve to get fired? And I was like, honestly, if it's just random people, I have my reservations against that. Again, because of shit like this. Things can get misconstrued. I mean, hell, somebody could take a video, somebody take one of my videos, take a snippet of it, or some other videos where somebody was just saying a sentence in reference to somebody else, and then boom, they're on people's hit list. And so they, obviously there was law enforcement there, so she did in fact file a police report. And there were others who assumed that it was definitely about Charlie Kirk, despite her denial. Now, I don't know this person, but, she's clearly stating, I'm going to take her word for it based on this article alone, that she did not celebrate anybody's death or condone violence, and now she's getting threats. And they were threatening her place of work, much like every other case of doxing. They were threatening her place of work, pressuring her boss to terminate her employment. And so, obviously, she's stepping back voluntarily. It's not that she's under any investigation for it. She's stepping back voluntarily. And that's the problem when people are so fucking trigger happy. And, people just have to fucking, overdo it. The punishment doesn't fit the crime, Even if somebody, were to celebrate, his death, threatening them with acts of violence or carrying out acts of violence, it's like bringing a gun to a knife. It's overkill. And, just like, another video I watched that, I think I did my own video in reference to that, words, not weapons, dialect. You can agree to disagree, and you can have dialect and try to understand where the other person is coming from. And, that's why you see these channels, they want to debate people, and this is true whether you're on the left or on the right. They want to debate people. Like, I mean, hell, I called one of those channels, a few days back. I know nobody watches my stuff, but whatever. It is what it is. But, the problem with, this whole doxing thing, it could lead to very bad unintended consequences, whether somebody celebrates or not, or in the case of this, was totally misconstrued, as a celebration when it wasn't. Let me know what you think. Do you think this woman was actually celebrating Kirk's death and is just trying to make up some bullshit excuse? Or do you think, some doxer just misconstrued what the actual post was? Because she's not fired. She isn't fired. You know, she just took a she just stepped down from her duties, you know, because, you know, she's putting the safety of herself and her kids first. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think she's making up a blue smoke excuse just to avoid accountability, or do you think that the docs have just got way too trigger happy? Anyhow, I'll talk to you.